So have you ever noticed how your creativity shifts depending on where you are, or what should I say, your level of focus? Like, so if I'm at home, for example, can have a certain amount of creativity for only so long, simply because there's just to be a lot of distractions. I'm in a comfortable area, and it's just easy to focus for a certain period of time before I end up having to just switch everything completely. So I find that sometimes if I'm in a different environment, like if I'm in a public environment and I'm working, I don't have any distractions because I don't know the environment. So I don't know the people around me. People don't know where, I don't have random people walking up to me. So it's easier for me to sit and actually focus on one thing at a time. Obviously, you can tell that I'm outside. Man, that dog didn't start barking. The dog's been quiet for the past like 30 minutes that I've been here. And then now that I'm recording, he wants to, I guess, give his 2 cents, which is fine. But being in a different environment, I know for me, changes a lot about how I interact and even how I focus on certain things. So I do find that getting out of the house or getting out of my space and then getting into a completely different space just really does change the tone for everything for me. It does change a lot as far as how I see things as a whole. So when I am looking at a space, I'm asking myself, what is it? What kind of spaces actually make me feel energized to create? And usually it's spaces with people in them. So it could be a chaotic environment, and as long as there's people that are there, I find that to be energizing. I'm not sure if it's the energy of the people around me, the activity, it's not stillness all the time, and things are always changing. So because of that, it does make it a little bit easier for me to focus. Sometimes I'll usually like put some music on, or if there's music in the environment that I like, I can still get a lot of stuff done. And that's just really boils down just focusing on those few things and being in the right environment. Coffee shops are a great place for me that I like. At co-working spaces, those are fine too for levels of focus. Right now, I'm sitting here at uh, a street vendor, so it does make it um, just a different scene, a different environment as I'm just making this simple piece of content. But it is having those different pieces that I use or that I go to find a place to create and work and even focus. Like I said, my level of focus goes up, especially when I have something like caffeine, good music, and then just knowing what it is that I have to do. I just sit, I lock in, and I just go. And I can go for quite a while before I need to maybe get up and take a break or stretch my legs. Usually, if I get another cup of coffee, I'll stretch my legs. I'll use that as an opportunity. But for the most part, it's usually the any place that has people around it. Those are the places that actually make me feel energized, just in general, just to make things and just to create. It's so as far as when was the last time my surroundings inspired an idea? It was probably when I'm being in China is actually because it's in a completely unfamiliar environment. I had never been there before, and when I was there the first time, it did create a different level of feeling for the entire, just for things that I've experienced, just because of the environment, just because everything was new, just because it was fresh. I couldn't read a lot of things, so a lot of things I had to actually understand just just by being aware of what was going on around me. So that did make for inspiring new ideas, new ways to approach doing things, new ways to use existing ideas from other people, and in the environment to kind of get an idea of, what this is about. How can I look at this differently? Even going to places outdoors as well as indoors, like malls they have there. There's plenty of signage, plenty of stores they have there that I wasn't even familiar with. So I'm looking at the different logos, the different brands, looking at the different typography that they have that's all written in Chinese and trying to understand what the name of the store and the actual messaging they used for the symbolism. So that was a very interesting game to take a look at and just understand more about that surrounding area and that culture and how they approach it from a creative standpoint. So, how does clutter for order affect my focus when designing? I think it's kind of like twofold. If I am surrounded by things that are relevant to the idea, then I just when it's not clutter at that point, it's kind of like reference points. But once I've locked into kind of it's usually at the very beginning, I kind of have those are usually when I'm ideating and creating something and coming up the combining ideas, it's usually when it's usually chaotic at first. But then as I begin to narrow things down, I know where I'm going, I know what needs to be done, I have all my elements in place, then I can go ahead and I usually prefer a much more orderly workspace. So it usually begins orderly at first, and then it gets cluttered with different ideas, perspectives, approaches, systems. And then once I've gotten in something solid, then I usually clear everything out, clear that space back out, and then go back to just focusing on that solid direction that I've picked. So, and I know that everybody's different. Everybody has their different ways of doing it. That's my way. I found that to be the most effective. So I just use that and I'll just do it that way to create and to have that level of focus and intensity in the actual work. But usually a cleaner work environment can help to keep things from getting distracted unless I actually do need different ideas to pull from quickly rather than having like go through tabs when I have my browsers open, and then that's when I'll do that approach. But yeah, that's pretty much how I handle clutter or order when I'm focusing. So when it comes to my creative space, a few things that support my process. I've got this notebook here that I use. So I've got this notebook here, and it has like sketches and stuff on it, both sides. I typically use a notebook that I have, and then I'll also use like this trace, this stencil. But yeah, I'll use a notebook to go ahead and create a lot of my ideas to sketch it out. I don't like doing things on a tablet. I know some people they love to use tablets, especially students. They like using tablets to come up with ideas. That's fine, but there's something tactile about having mistakes that happen when I'm sketching with a pencil or even a pen. So I'll use that, I'll shape things in, and even as I'm drawing them out, it's much faster for me. And I'm not really worried about the technical aspects of how something works. So in a way, it actually frees up mental bandwidth when I'm drawing, when I'm ideating. And that allows me just to focus on the idea and not anything technical like me looking at the keyboard or me looking at a menu or and a notification coming in. So having that analog, having a pencil, just me, pencil, paper, brain, that's it. There's no more distractions at that point. And I can just focus and I can move faster. I can combine ideas and I can always take all those ideas that I've made now and then using other tools, even using AI tools, take a picture of it, upload it, and then come up with even more ideas or new ways of asking new questions to understand it. So those are the types of things that support my creative process. Music, pencil, paper, um, obviously my laptop or desktop is going to be one of those other tools as well that I use. Now, when it comes to distractions and things that actually slow me down, I know that sometimes certain music can slow me down, like if it has like lyrics in it, and that took me a while to learn. Like I like listening to music, but it turns out that when I'm listening to music and it has lyrics in it, that can actually slow me down because I might think of something, but then I might hear something, and then that might create a completely different idea from me. So what I have to do is be like, okay, I can't listen to anything with music in it. And I'm not sure if it's like an an ADD thing, or if it's just how my brain is wired. Like I have one linguistic channel. So that is one thing that slows me down. I usually wear headphones, and so I am not engaging with other people around me. And that can also slow me down as well. So that's why I'll take things like I'll drink coffee, and I even will occasionally chew something like Nicorette. I don't smoke, but I actually learned this from Alex Ramosi. He said it works like a nootropic, which causes you to focus. And I found that to be an interesting hack as well. But it keeps me focused and it keeps the distractions down. So I typically kind of like a horse with like reins on them. For see horses that have like the reins on the sides of their heads. I'll do that. I don't wear reins, but I I don't look around, and eventually my brain will just lock into the screen, and that will makes it easier for me to focus, and I don't get distracted. And it's just really about momentum. So having that having that level of focus does keep the minimum distractions away that I'm supposed to deal with. And so if my environment could speak, what would it say about my current mindset? I would say that it would probably say that the mindset is progress and purpose. Having a very clear purpose of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and the outcome that I'm after, and the steps that are required to do that. And also taking the emotion out of design. There is emotion in design, but it doesn't have to be your emotion. It can be strategic emotion. Shapes have emotion. Colors have emotion. Images convey emotion. So those are the things that I use to put emotion into the design, but it's intentional. It doesn't have to be me trying to emote my way or you feeling my way totally into it. I can be strategic and put feeling into the work by the elements that I choose to use and the way that I choose to highlight those elements. So, if an environment would say about my mindset, would say would be focused and a certain level of minimalism and removing distractions